What's going on, traders? Sandro O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is June 18th, 2021. Please click the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today, we are going to talk about the price action in the indices. We'll go under the hood and check out our sectors and the style factors. We'll talk about some of my trades for the day. And then last but not least, we're going to wrap up with some options order flow. Before we get into all that, quick risk disclaimer, nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. And last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. All right, let's jump right into it for today. So first of all, happy Friday, everyone. We made it to options expiration Friday, and we certainly went out with a bang today, that's for sure. So S&P 500, we had the SPY ETF close down 1.35%. We had our NASDAQ QQQ finish down 0.78%, which was our best performer on the day. We had the IWM small caps finish down 2.27%, and we had the Dow Jones close down 1.54%. So what happened today? Yesterday, I was talking about in my video how I was like, I'm just going to take profits on a bunch of stuff because, the market, it seems like there's some tremors. I was bringing up how, just be alert. There's things that are going on in the background that just don't seem really conducive to a nice, healthy market. Like I was talking about how, the value stocks were getting killed, growth stocks were still ripping. But it just seemed like this weird dichotomy. And now today was the huge vol event, actually the blow up, which to me seemed like the climax event. We'll have to see if it was or not. But yeah, let's take a look at this S&P 500 and you'll see, this is a huge extended range red candle. We closed below the 20-day simple moving average. We closed below this monthly point of control. And we also closed below the 50-day simple moving average. So this was definitely a crazy trading session. And a lot of this dump that happened actually occurred after hours. So let's bring up, instead of the ES, the ES is actually a little bit different because it includes the overnight session. And it also includes, the after hours. Let's just look at the SPY ETF so you can see where we actually left off. And you can see, this is still a really big red candle, and this to me seemed like a capitulation event. Pretty crazy stuff going on. Let's go over to the NASDAQ, which for the most part was pretty unscathed by today's price action. What I mean by that is we only closed just a smidge under this 5-day EMA. Technically, the NASDAQ still looks really strong. We're above the 20-day, we're above the 50-day, and we're above that monthly value area. If we flip over to the Russell, you can see we closed down 2.6%. This one also, within the course of a few days, here we are. Now we're looking at the prior lows in terms of, where we're going to end up with these stocks. Another thing, if we pull up the Dow Jones has just been absolutely terrible, very weak here. And this is like the opposite of a parabolic chart. This is just like a falling knife right here. So yeah, you can see, at this point I think the Dow is a little bit oversold. But yeah, we're below all the key moving averages. We're below this monthly value area. And we have this VPOC down here at 32,673, which could be the next level up for the Dow Jones. Let's go to our market breadth over here. And you'll see market breadth was very weak throughout the entire session. These equities just could not get off the mat. We had 0% breadth in the Dow Jones. I've actually never seen that before, to be quite honest. I've never seen, since I built this little thing that pulls in all the data and gives me the advancers and decliners. Yeah, I've never seen where it's goose egg. None of the stocks advanced. So that to me just shows this was a wipeout for anyone that was long value stocks. I mean, I'm not really long value stocks, so that's okay. But yeah, huge event. Then when we look at our heat map, Yeah, you can see a lot of these areas were just really crushed. You can see banks were down big, semis were down big, even Nvidia closed red, and that one was green for most of the day. Amazon, which has been one of the stronger stocks, was actually fighting to close green and close just slightly red. But yeah, let's pull up, just for context here, I'm going to pull up some of these charts. And I'm actually going to pull them up with the Bollinger Bands on. So I'll pull them up just in FinViz here. And I'm going to go to, so like we'll start off with just the Dow Jones. And you can see here we have our Bollinger Bands on. Look how far we fell outside of the Bollinger Band. Look at that. This is a multi-sigma event that we're experiencing. Like, to me, whenever we get these multi-sigma events, I always find them just fascinating. But, yeah, pretty crazy stuff. So I'm going to throw on a 3 standard deviation band and also a 4 standard deviation band. And it looks a little noisy here, but you can see we closed at the 4 standard deviation band pretty much. So in terms of being oversold, yeah, we're very oversold at this point. This was definitely like some hedge fund managers that were just getting like, completely just liquidated. Like their careers are over. So we'll have to see what happens into next week. And you can see the volume over here is just incredible. Same thing if we pull up financials. Three standard deviation event approaching for industrials. Same thing. Industrials end up closing out with a bit of like a doji candle. Transports also very similar. So yeah, yesterday was a big event. Today was like, part 2. So yeah, very crazy stuff going on. And let's pull up here. So if we go to our sectors, this is going to be further elaboration. We had a couple areas of the market close green. So the ARK Innovation Fund closed positive 0.34%. We also had the software ETF close up 0.33%, but everything else was pretty dark red. You can see these regional banks down 3.37%. The blockchain ETF was also down. Semiconductors, yeah, pretty much a bloodbath unless you were in those specific stocks. So stocks like DocuSign, CrowdStrike, a lot of those were just fine. So like, I'll just pull up a few just so you can see what I'm talking about here. So like, we pull up CrowdStrike, up 1.5%, DocuSign, up 5%, Airbnb, up 1.12, up 1.21%. So if you're a growth investor, most likely you were just like, what sell off? All my stocks are up. Yeah, if you're a value investor, that was definitely a different story. Let's go back here. We'll go to our style factors. And yeah, you can see this international value is down 2.88%. High beta was down 2.24%. High div, low vol was down 2.33%. And yeah, the best performing style factor on the day was growth, down 0.64%. Let's go over to some of my trades for the day. What I did this morning was I am attempting to buy some of this carnage. So I got long some SPY calls for July in the morning for $6.39. And then I also got long some Dow Jones July 16th 333 strike calls for $6.30. Historically, I was going through this earlier, but historically, buying at these 3 or 4 standard deviation down moves has been a trade that has a high amount of edge to it. So we'll see. That doesn't mean that it'll work this time. But yeah, I like the odds. So going into the close, I was like, I'm going to hang on to these because we could end up getting some sort of bounce on Monday or Tuesday. I mean, if this were to sell off any further, then suddenly we're entering the territory of, a 4 standard deviation event, 5 standard deviation event, which could certainly happen, but that would be, the statistical odds of it happening are just very low. So yeah, those are the only 2 trades I did today. I wasn't really, on a day like today, I don't want to be too active. So yeah, that was it. I was like, I'll put on some index trades to play what I think is a very oversold condition, but other than that, there wasn't really all that much to do. And if we pull up here, you can see like our CNN Fear and Greed Index. This thing is back at a 30. So it always happens like this. I mean, this time could certainly be different, but typically once we get these fearful conditions and you see capitulation, those are typically the buying opportunities. Most people are too afraid to buy when that happens. Then they end up just buying, much higher. So we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, really interesting, crazy day of price action. That was a crazy quad witching for sure. Let's pull up real quick our options order flow. We'll go over to our VigTech here. There was some interesting flow today. Let's check it out. So we had, this one really stuck out to me, AVGO. We had $370 million worth of call flow. And this came in, I would say around like 3:15 that it started just flooding in. And you can see these are orders for January of 2022, more January 2022, more. Yeah, these were all orders for January of 2022 at either the 300 strike or 320. Let's see, AVGO. Yeah, so it looks like those are position trades where they entered something with a very high delta. That probably has maybe like a 70 delta. Pretty aggressive. So it looks like they're just positioning in the stock. But this one, it's starting to set up pretty nicely in my opinion here. So I'm going to be watching this one pretty closely. And then what else do we have? Amazon, of course. A lot of flow here for July, June. Yeah, a lot of this is shorter dated. You can see this is for January of 2022. Amazon is very close to a breakout. So you can see closed down just 0.07%. If we look at the weekly, you can see we are still very close to a breakout to new high ground. That about does it for this market recap video. I want to keep it nice and short and sweet for Friday. Hope you all have an awesome weekend. If you are interested in becoming a member of the Pristine Capital trading community, feel free to sign up at pristinecapital.net, or feel free to reach out to me if you're interested in doing a free trial of the group. That being said, hope you all have a great weekend. I will see you all on Monday.